Morning, Faithful. Morning, Bryant. How's it going, buddy?
Good morning, David. Going pretty good. We got game
And
today.
it's the 49ers morning pregame show, you know. And right now it's like we seem to be riddled with injuries, which is something that's been going on all season. You know, our kicker's missed time. He's back. Hopefully he gets back in the groove. You know, he wasn't exactly in the groove last week, I'll say. Um, we have a lot of guys on the injury report, though. Like Aaron Banks, he's got a thigh. Oh, well, he did have a limited practice on Friday, and he is listed as questionable. Daryl Luter Jr. is probably going to be out for this game. They have him listed as doubtful, though. Juwan Jennings is a go. Yetur Gross Matos is questionable, although it would be nice to have him and his versatility back, because then we'd have two guys that can pass rush from the inside or the outside. And on the outside, he actually plays the run very well, so it would be nice to get him back. Renardo Green, it's saying he has a toe issue, but he's a go. Christian McCaffrey, they have him listed as Achilles. I think they're just managing the situation with him, but he's a go. John Feliciano, now he was limited all week, and they have him listed as questionable. So I think they're trying to get him back in full football shape before they actually activate him to the roster. I would love to see him inserted. I mean, it's his last year. You know, who doesn't want to go out with a bang? I would love to see him inserted as our starting center, you know. But that's just my opinion. Chris Conley's got a hamstring issue. He's a go, though. Mitch Wazowski, back. Now, this could be a serious long-term problem. They actually, I believe they placed him on IR, didn't they, Bryant?
Correct. They put Mitch Wisnowski on IR, and they also put Daryl Luter Jr. on IR.
Yeah, so we won't be seeing those guys for at least 4 to 6 weeks, somewhere around there. Trent Williams, it says ankle, not injury related, resting player. Okay, what is it? You know, but it says he has an ankle issue. He did not practice all week and is questionable for this game. That's kind of a big loss there. Travarius Ward, personal matters. You know, take your time, buddy. You know, we all understand what's going on. Take your time. We have other corners that can play. So, you know, you get back when you get back. George Kittle, hamstring. He was limited on Thursday and Friday, and he's listed as questionable. You know, if Kittle can rub some dirt on it and get back out there, you know he's going to, right? Kevin Givens is out, and we've been missing him for a minute with a groin injury. Nick Bosa has a hip injury. He was limited on Friday. They have him listed as questionable. So, I mean, that's a lot of injuries. You know, when it comes to them, they're starting defensive tackles that they actually rested them. It says rest veteran player, but Jaron Reed only had a limited practice on Friday. That's interesting. Kobe Bryant, illness. He's a go, though. So Draymond Jones, which is a defensive end, shoulder, he's a go. DK Metcalf had a knee injury, but he's been practicing all week. Boye Mafe is limited 2 days, full practice Friday. Abraham Lucas, this is their starting offensive tackle. I think he's their blind side. He was a full practice Thursday and Friday, so he's a go. Connor Williams, now, I saw stories that he's announcing his retirement and he's retiring from the NFL. I would imagine there's more to the story than we know. You know, maybe he does have an injury that they're not listing. Maybe, you know, maybe the doctors told him, look, bro, you keep going. You know, you take the right hit, right? So, but he actually has retired, but they have him listed as out right now. Leonard Williams, defensive end. He is a go. Brady Russell, tight end, and Noah Fant. So these are two of their, I believe the 4 tight ends they have on their roster are out. And that's the injury report for the game. Without not having Trent Williams is going to be huge if that ends up being the case. We'll have Jalen Moore over there. If they activated John Feliciano, it might even be him over there. Which could be better than Jalen Moore. He has experience, right? But we'll see. What do you think of that? Between George Kittle and Trent Williams, I look at both of those guys like if neither of them play, that's huge. That our offense is going to have issues.
Yeah, most definitely. Having George out is huge. He seems to be our reliable guy, Mr. Red Zone, or Mr. Just when we need something big, we can always count on George. His tenure over his 49er career. Mr. Trent Williams is a huge player. I don't want to sound like we will be completely lost without him, because I don't think that's the case. We do need to start looking at a replacement for him. When he's here, we need to use him, of course. If he's hurt, we got to put him over and let somebody else play. Then the people that we have on the team, we have to believe in them, and we got to give them some kind of rep, because if, heaven forbid, something happens in the middle of the season or playoff times with Trent, we have to have these other guys ready to be able to go in and actually, hopefully do something well. So if Trent's out today, then I'd like to see the other guys step up and do well. I'd really like to start seeing, the plug and play replacements that we hope these guys are, that can fill any position, because it seems like we only have 1 or 2 guys on the offensive line that are like true players for their one position. Everybody else is like a swing player. So, yeah, I think having Trent out would be a little harder on the offense, but I think we have a CMC back. I think that will help, and I also think if George Kittle's out, that's going to make it a little bit harder as well. Both of those guys being out is going to make the game a little bit harder for sure. But I think the other guys can step up. I think we got to get an opportunity.
And that's exactly it. Is next man up seems to be the going attitude, and that's how the Niners have done it the whole time, right? And next man up, we had one of the top running backs in the league until he got a shoulder injury, and then here comes CMC back, right? Isaac Guerrero looked like he was coming around, and he's the type of back you do like a jet sweep, you get him on the edge, that guy's going to be dangerous. And I would love to see Kyle use these guys in this way, because Debo's he's not the guy he once was. All right, let's just put it out there. Let's be brutally honest with each other. He is a good player, but when it comes to jet sweeps and everything, defenses are teeing off on him. They're prepared for it. So it's time to get some of these other guys that are a little quicker. Isaac Guerrero isn't just a little quicker; he's a lot quicker. But Ricky Purcell, for example, did a jet sweep last week, 39 yards. And he's not necessarily that much faster than Debo, but he is quicker than Debo. It's like Kyle typically is forced to play rookies because of injury. This rookie class is looking really good. I would love to see the other guys get out there, though, like, a Jacob Cowing, right? I would love to see him get out there and do more than have someone push back into him during a punt return. Folks, be real. He was focused on the ball. It's not like he can see Luter Jr. coming his way being pushed into him. All right. You can't blame this on Jacob Cowing. But our special teams unit, it's been an issue all year. But anyways, let's say hi to the chat. We got Tony Colt, Bryant's better half in the building. What's going on? Of course, we got David Corona. What's up, buddy? Jason, what's cracking, buddy? What's going on? And it's like, yeah, David Corona, he's recovering from back surgery, so he's not on IR though. He's still getting out there,
So hey, let's take a second and let's talk about what probably everybody was watching on Friday night.
The fight.
Yeah. And before I don't really want to get too much details into that. As far as what was neat to me to observe is the curtains in the background. Texas Stadium has all that glass around the stadium, and the sunlight comes through it. And we've seen players like CD Lamb and other players drop passes in the end zone because of that light coming through. I know a game outside with natural lighting, that happens as well. We know like Candlestick, Santa Clara, Levi Stadium. Half the stadium gets sunburned. We get it, but with that being said, the fight, David, come on. What, somebody sitting on the other side of the street with a camera zooming in and going to stream that live and make a bunch of money on it? I mean, like, is Amazon is Netflix that paranoid to keep it all blacked out so people couldn't see what's going on the inside? It's nighttime, I mean, like, I don't get it, so like they have the curtains up and make it like spooky or something. I don't get it. Like, but
people get their drones out and they'll go live, with the drone shot.
Yeah, it's like I guess. But, for them not to do that for the Cowboys during the regular season or something, or have like, I don't know, tinted windows or something like that. I don't know, but maybe the Cowboys I don't know, maybe they're handicapping themselves on purpose, or maybe nobody just thought of it. Hey, we should put a curtain up. But then why again would you put a curtain up at time? It's like, all right.
I know it's just strange how that all rolled out. All right, buddy. I just got a latest thing. George Kittle unlikely to play.
Oh boy, fantasy owners, you better check your lineup. Check it.
Oh boy. It's like he's right now the leading pass catcher on the team, if y'all didn't know, folks. And he has 7 touchdowns. He's also our best red zone target. Which brings us to the morning questions. So all right. We got 4 of them, of course. So the red zone, who do the 49ers target? Now, the obvious answer is George Kittle with 7 touchdowns, but he's not on the field, right? So I'm honestly looking at a guy like Juwan Jennings, who has height. He's got long arms. He can get up there. He can catch it. I'm looking at him, specifically to score at least 1 touchdown this game. And, we could see a check down to Christian McCaffrey go in the end zone too, And, I mean, that's pretty much our best hopes when it comes to scoring touchdowns in the red zone right now. George Kittle's been the man in the red zone. Right, Bryant?
He's Mr. Reliable. And it's not this season, it's every season. And what I mean, too, by like the red zone is we know we have players that can run it in from a distance. Juwan's done that. We've seen Ricky Pearsall do that. We've seen CMC do that. But when we get down to the red zone, who can we, I don't know, maybe I'm biased here. Maybe I'm using the wrong position player. But who's our guy that goes up and makes that Dwight Clark catch, and, who we can count on? I think the only person right now on the team is Kittle. And with him being out, we do have to look for somebody else. If Jennings can step up, that's great. If CMC, can do it, then that's great. I think they are holding CMC back a little bit. And Jennings, with his injury coming back a little bit, I think he might just be a little slower. So like you were saying earlier, somebody like Conley can get in there and, we can see what he does. But we need somebody in that red zone, that 10 yards right there. When we're like 2-3 yards away from the end zone, we can drop back and throw it. We don't have to try to pound it in.
And it's also up to Kyle too. Like, draw up a play that's proper for the space you're given. Do a quick slant. Get like a guy like Ricky Purcell, who has decent size and speed. A quick slant in the end zone. One juke on the corner, get the corner half a step behind, and there you go, right?
Yeah.
It's like, a lot of it is on Kyle to draw up the proper play for the end zone. And typically the tight end is the guy who gets free first. And George Kittle's really good. He is a matchup nightmare for the other team, but we will not be having him this game. But yeah, it's about time. Let's see what Kyle draws up, folks. We need to punch it in, though. Being 28th in the league is just not acceptable. So what wide receiver will take charge? I got one name on the list, and it's not who you guys think it is. Juwan Jennings. He is our leading wide receiver right now when it comes to yards and touchdowns. Right now, if you look at who's our number one wide receiver, it's Juwan Jennings, and this ain't a hate on Deebo Samuel thing. I don't hate the guy. He just needs to do better. He's earlier in the season he had some targets. He got his opportunities to make plays, and he got one very long touchdown. I believe it was a 50-yard plus touchdown versus the Seahawks. Right? That's what he's done. He has one red zone touchdown. It'd be nice to see a guy that's, a star on the team step up when we need him. And right now we need him. So, Deebo, lock in for today, buddy.
Lock in. That's it. Anytime a Niner needs to do something this season, I hope they can remember to focus and lock in. Deebo called it out, and sometimes it's hard to point that finger in the mirror and tell yourself that too. How many touchdowns does he have on the season? 2. Well, that's 2 less than we need. We need more than that. We need as much as we can get. Deebo, you went from number 19 to number 1. You're giving everybody problems with that. We need more than 1 touchdown. We need more than 1 rushing touchdown. We need as much as we can get out of you. And if you're going to call other players out, he's a captain as well, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
I mean, that's great that you can stand up and you can, get emotional on the sidelines and tell a kicker, to lock in. Now you need to lock in yourself and, I don't know, do something. Juwan Jennings is surpassing him. Juwan Jennings is what, a 7th round player? And Deebo's what, a 3rd round player, if I'm correct?
Second
round player. So, just right there, you would think this player is going to be a better player. And we know there's been times where Deebo's admitted to taking plays off, and we love Brock because of why he calls those players out. It's not just Deebo sometimes taking plays off. We've seen Brandon Ayuk take plays off, and Brock Purdy's like, you run the route because you never know when you're going to be open, and I'm going to have to throw the ball to you. Brock Purdy has had the ability to keep plays alive longer, and when you have somebody not running a full route, Deebo, and come on, you're asking for this much money and you're taking time off. I mean, I guess, everybody deserves a break, but are you supposed to take a break during the play? I mean, I don't know, dude.
No.
So.
No, you're not.
I love Deebo too. I have 19 jerseys in my closet, and not one of them is his. But I still love Deebo, right? But no, Deebo's great. I would like to see him score a touchdown today and be Deebo, But they've said in the past, he's not the best wide receiver. He's a more of a physical running player, a wide back. People's coined him, and maybe he needs to work on his hands a little bit better. But when the ball is in his hands, he is dangerous. And I think right now, with CMC being out earlier in the season, everybody kind of coined onto him and just, hey, we know they're going to use him this way because at this point, he's kind of a one-trick pony. Juwan Jennings being out too, that made everybody just focus on Deebo. So maybe everybody's going to be focused on you again, dude, because a lot of the players are back, but they're, coming back. I think, would it be safe to say Juwan's coming back slow? Is it safe to say CMC's coming back slow? Or at least it doesn't seem like we're dumping everything on these players right now. So I think Deebo needs to step up, David.
And being a captain, I'm a big lead by example type of guy. I'm a manager at my work. I didn't even know what level of management I was until it got explained to me by one of the QA people. But anyway, so and I'm a big lead by example guy. I'm always walking around with a smile on my face. It don't matter what I'm working on, like that damn water jet, that thing. Anyway, no, it's actually running now, Brian. I shook it down Friday. I stayed late to make sure it was going to do everything it was going to do in the long term. It was funny. The high pressure water lines were popping off on me. I was fixing little things left and right, but it'll run for whoever wants to run it now. Anyways, but that's just an example. Sometimes there's a complicated issue, and you have to fix it yourself. This is what I'm getting at. And this is Debo, buddy. You got to fix it. You get like our red zone offense. You're a great player. Let's see you do more down there. When it comes to him running in the backfield, teams are teeing off on that. So if Kyle wants to use him as a distraction, you're more than welcome to. So another player is open, so we score a touchdown. Let's see this stuff though. But yeah, lead by example. Time to step up.
At one point, you believed him when he, would signal Kyle and say, "I want the ball." You're like, okay, Debo's going to get the ball and he's going to do something with it now, right? Now you don't necessarily see that. I don't know if it's a lack of effort or like we were just saying, both of us, the other teams are just like, okay, he's got the ball. We're going to clamp down on him really quickly. But in the past, even when they tried to clamp down on him, he would run over him. So I think there's definitely been something changed. I don't know.
And we're talking about wide receivers, so that'll roll into this next one. Who is gonna stop DK, or can we? Right?
Yeah.
DK Metcalf is a specimen. They have him listed at 6'4". He's more like 6'5". He's big, he's strong, he's fast. And believe it or not, in the 2019 draft, folks, we took Deebo Samuel before the Seahawks took DK Metcalf. I just had to say that, but yes, we can 100% stop DK Metcalf, double coverage, but you put double coverage on him. Think about this, that their current leading wide receiver, I don't think it's DK. I think it's Smith and Jigba. And they have Tyler Lockett. So they have a stacked wide receiver room. And the only way we can slow these guys down is if our pass rush steps up, gets in Geno's head, and forces him to make bad decisions, which is what we've been doing the last couple of years. Hopefully we can keep that up, But right now we have two good corners. One of our top three corners is out because of, his daughter passing away, which is tragic. I can't blame him. Take all the time you need. But so we have a guy named Yadam who really stepped up last week. Actually, he played really good last week. Probably the best game of the season so far. It would be nice if he could put together a string of games like that and play like that for the rest of the season. The guy's tall. He's got length. Weight wise, yeah, he's kind of on the skinny side, but he's still tall. He's got length. He can cover the bigger wide receivers like DK Metcalf. I wouldn't be surprised to see him on DK Metcalf the whole game. But our current number one corner is Deommodore Lenoir. So, Brian, I have a question for you. Who would you put Lenoir on, or would you have him just play one side? Out of Metcalf, Smith and Jigba, and Lockett, who would you put Lenoir on?
Currently, do we have corners that travel, or do they typically stay on one side of the field?
Typically, they stay on one side of the field, although last year they had Ward traveling with the number one wide receiver.
Who would you determine as their number one receiver for Seattle?
I would say Smith and Jigba.
Okay. I'd leave everybody alone and let them play one side of the field because I think DK is really, really dangerous. I know Najigba. I think he's really talented as well, and he's been getting better. I think he's been on their team a couple seasons now. He's good in the red zone, if I'm correct. And I kind of agree with Jason. DK is their number one. DK is their Debo, but isn't it Lockett take over games too, where you're like, where's DK at? So I think it really comes down to what you said about Geno Smith. If we can get in his head and make him play bad, make bad decisions, then we got a good chance. But if he's comfortable back there, he has really good wide receivers he can nail. He's got at least 3 good wide receivers. So I guess the question should have been is how is the 49ers defense going to match up against the defense, the defense matchup against the Seattle Seahawks' wide receivers. I know last week's game, the defense did overall pretty well, but we were giving up passes for Baker Mayfield. It was because of their wide receivers, and I think it was their tight end who dropped a couple crucial passes that kept us in the game. We can't always get lucky, and I think right now our corners are playing really off, really, really off. They're getting a lot of coverage. So maybe because Ward's out, maybe that's the reason they're playing that way. But I kind of feel like they've always played that way. And with Ward being the one that travels, I'd just leave it alone right now. I would let everybody just play one side of the field.
Yeah. This is the first time I've seen I overstand 510 in the chat. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate you. But Renardo Green has been playing really good football. And I honestly think that's the reason why we signed Lenore long-term is to pair those two up, and Lenore could come. Lenore plays, he's our nickel, and then they bring in Yadam to play the other outside spot. But this is all for the offseason. I ain't worried about the offseason yet until we're there, right? But, their running game hasn't been that good this year, Seattle Seahawks. So I look at our pass rush, like our pass rush is key this game. That they need to get into the backfield. They need to make Geno Smith uncomfortable back there because that's going to make life easier on our corners because they won't have to cover for so long, right? It all has a trickle-down effect.
Yeah. And what did we say about Nick Bosa? He's questionable?
He is he is playing from what I saw.
Yeah,
with his hip injury.
Yeah, right now game status is questionable, but he should be playing.
Yes,
so,
yes.
But we get other players back too. I think you said what Gross
Matos.
Gross Matos, and that's my guy. I really like him. I just can't talk, and that really hurts, right? But Gross Matos coming back, and we had who was the young guy last game that stepped up? Was it number 90 or 96? But he was.
You talking 69? Evan Anderson?
Maybe that's him. I'll have to.
I really like Evan Anderson. I've been wanting to. How long have I been wanting a nose tackle, Bryant? The whole time you've known me, right?
Yeah.
Wanting a real nose tackle. That's what Evan Anderson is. He's 6'3", 326, pushing 330. And he hits people so hard, he actually puts one of those soft socks over his helmet. So he's wearing a helmet over his helmet, and he does. He eats up 2 blockers. If you don't put 2 blockers on him, he has a really quick first 5 yards. He will get in the backfield and be in that quarterback's face. So he's the type of pass rusher we need because he makes life easier on the other 3 guys. They'll all be one-on-one or getting chipped by tight ends and running backs, but he'll make life easier on those guys.
Yes.
So,
yes, I agree. He is that guy. He also wore that weird. I don't know. We were talking about off the during the game, the covering. Some of the teams are now electing to go with a little bit. Well, maybe you can see this or not. It's a little bit of a.
Yes. That's that's like a soft. It's like a soft impact type of foam. It's meant to prevent concussions, right?
Yeah.
And we saw like Tampa Bay's right tackle last game. You pointed out to me, we're like, what's up with his helmet? And I started looking at that, and he had one of those soft socks over his helmet, like Evan Anderson did.
Yeah, but when we were watching the Ravens game, and folks can go back and watch this, we were watching the Ravens game. One of them didn't have the right helmet on. It was not. It was totally wrong helmet. Equipment managers, we need you. All right, you're supposed to do your job. Somebody's supposed to check everybody at the door. You're not supposed to have a white helmet.
Hey, there could have he could have made the equipment manager mad, and the equipment manager said, "Here, you're going to stand out like a sore thumb. Not a me problem."
Yeah, it's close enough. Like it's a purple helmet. Take it, right? You're like, oh, jeez. But all right, yeah. So DK, Jason says it here. He said, if you get into his head, and we know that from the past, DK's a hothead. So if you make him upset early in the game, he kind of takes himself out of the game. So that's definitely a strategic move. If we can, utilize that and achieve that, then hey, there you go. But Jigba and Lockett, they have a lot of good wide receivers as well. So we're just gonna have to keep going on with that. Are you impressed with their running game, or is that anything that we need to talk about with the Seahawks? I know they're 4-5, we're 5-4, so they're not that far away from us.
No, we're half a game back in our division, which really we're more like a full game back because they currently have the tiebreaker, the Cardinals.
Yeah.
And they're at 6-4, so our division is really tight. At this point, I'm not looking at the number one seed. I'm just looking at winning the division and making the playoffs. That's kind of, it's not a given at this point. We got to win games to get there, right?
Correct.
What's up, Chad Schrader? Good morning, buddy.
Thanks for coming.
And this brings us to our last thing. I'm going to let you start while I go grab some more coffee. That only takes a second. But what do the Niners need to do to convert on third down?
All right, cool. We'll get that going, and I'm going to start this. We have one more question too. I'm going to get right in between the middle of it for a topic. We do have an injury with Mitch Wisnowski, so we're going to be stepping up, and we're going to go with the next player forward. So Pat O'Donnell will be the 49ers punter for today, and we'll see how it goes moving forward. I believe he was signed off the practice squad. So Mitch Wisnowski was placed on the IR for back strains, so we'll see what happens. Again, the Niners are having issues with special teams that just never stops. For the last couple of years, we've had issues with special teams. So we do have Jake Moody coming back. Hopefully he's a little bit more solid this game. And really, honestly, I just hope the 49ers coverage team can hold up, because every time we do play the Seahawks, this is something that they seem to, I don't know, they're just really pesky. They on special teams. That's a good word for them. They go for it they go for fakes. We've had punters throw the ball on us, punters run the ball on us. We've had everything you can imagine. If someone's going to do an onside kick and you recover the ball, it's going to be Seattle versus us, because Seattle is they're just, I don't know, a special team, I guess. And I like special teams, and we don't put nearly as much energy into it as Seattle does. So for the question, though, that was what I wanted to get out for special teams. Look forward to seeing how Pat O'Donnell does. Hopefully we don't have to punt too many times in this game, and I do want to see Mitch get better. And if not, then we need to maybe sometime look for a replacement, maybe moving on in the future, because this isn't the first time he's had a back injury and it's held him out.
Yeah, back injuries typically don't go away.
Nah.
They'll hang out, they'll linger. And Mitch has been good for us, so it's kind of sad. It's going to be sad to see the Aussie go, but it's availability is an ability, right?
You have to be healthy. You can't call out too many times. You call out too many times, and they want a doctor's note. And at this point, that's what they're asking for. So now they're asking for him to sit out for 4 to 6 weeks, injured reserve. Maybe we'll have him back in the playoffs, but maybe at that time too, if it's still hurting, just hold out, because again, if you're hurting, we don't need you to hurt yourself anymore. And I think that's kind of what happened with Jake Moody. Is they even asked him, they said, "You still hurt in the leg a little bit?" Larry Krueger had said this and asked him this, and he said when he kicks, he still has a little bit of pain. Well, sometimes you have to play through the pain, but when we were sitting where we're at with 2 other kickers on the roster, because our other kicker just came off IR, we released Carlson went to the Jets, and now he's a Jet. So now we're sitting back and we're saying, okay, well, if you still have injury, if you're still hurt, then we have we have other people in place that can take the time, right? But maybe everybody, again, if you're not playing or you're not at work, they will replace you. And maybe that's what Jake thought, is if he doesn't get back in fast enough, they'll, replace me. So with Mitch Wisnowski, same thing. But if you're not there, we do have other people that can kick, or we'll get somebody that can kick. Don't want to see you go anywhere. I love the Aussie guy as well, but don't rush back. And that's what I'm saying is, if you're hurt, then take the time to recover. Don't rush back. We will be here when you're ready. Because if you come back too early and you have a nagging injury, or it just won't go away because you didn't give yourself enough time, you're not helping anybody. You're hurting yourself. And the team can make arrangements when you do return. So, okay, David, like you asked me to say, what do the 49ers need to do to convert on third down? And that's our final question of the day before the game starts. And what do I think they need to do, David? I think we need to go to a situation where we're going to be determined and we're dedicated. Either we're going to run the ball in on third down, or we're going to and this is just on third down. So this isn't red zone. This isn't trying to score a touchdown. This is just converting a third down so we can continue to keep a drive alive and get us to a position where we can get to the red zone and we don't have to stall and kick a field goal. So, it's been said, maybe at the beginning of the game, you should run the ball. Run the ball. When you get past the 50-yard line, maybe you should start throwing the ball a little bit to move away from running the ball when it's working. Maybe you should just run the ball all the way in. Every once in a while, maybe you throw a pass out there. But that first time the guy drops the ball, what happens? And if you do it on third down, then you just stalled, right? So I would like to see more of the running in the beginning of the game. And I would like to see more of, if you're going to pass, I guess maybe go do it on second down. But you have to run and you have to get enough yardage on your first play, right, to be comfortable to say we can get it on third down. And maybe they need to start going for it on fourth down more often. Maybe that will help third down conversions happen, because they're going to say, when it is second down, we need to get this. We need to get enough yards so we can convert on fourth. And sometimes when you're trying to get 7 yards and you can come up with 6 yards, the next time you're like, hey, we need to get 7 yards, and you only need 6 yards, and you did it last play, right? You did it prior, so you're building up confidence, and I'd like to see them do that as well with scoring point afters. I think they should start going for 2 more often, not to try to eliminate the kicker, but to build the confidence in themselves. We've seen other teams, and this is kind of what happened to us in the Super Bowl. You have Jennings out there on the side. We throw the ball over to him on the side. Other teams make that play. And for whatever reason, we just can't make the easy shots. And I don't know, maybe we make the hard things look too easy. I don't know. But doing jet sweeps all the time isn't going to help us unless we get something out of it. And if you're never ever setting up the play action pass, and you're never ever, when you do go for it, and your player is like somebody like, we've seen it this season. Ayuk, me and you were talking about it. At one point, he had less than 11 catches. Yeah, but that was still like 4 or 5 games into the season. He still had less than 11 catches. We are both joking with each other. So when you have somebody like Debo who says he's the number 1 player, switches his jersey out, tell other people to lock in, but he doesn't score a touchdown in how many weeks? We have to do something. So I think we need to get creative, but I think we need to dedicate ourselves and really focus. Why are we switching out players that can be home run hitters and putting other players in that have injuries? And what I'm getting at is when Jordan Mason says that he has a shoulder injury, why aren't we playing the rookie? Why are we asking the rookie to take a knee when he has an opportunity to score a touchdown instead of punching it in? Why are we giving it to the fullback a play later? And I've said this before, is it because the team's making a statement to a reporter, or is it the team's making a statement together as unity, and they're trying to do something together? Because it should be about winning games and playing football, and coming, that should be what it's about, not making statements and stuff to, like political statements and nonsense on the side. If you read the articles and you're listening to people, you understand. But to get away from that, David, we got a running back who can punch it in. He can run it all the way down the field, and we're not utilizing him. I just don't get it. We have players like, and we've seen this happen to Juwan Jennings in the past. really good passer, catcher. We get down to the red zone, we don't throw it to him, right? And you're like, why aren't you throwing it to him? We've seen this with other players as well. And I don't know if it's about being favored or it's about scheme, but if we only script the first 20 plays, then after the first or second quarter, everything should be a little bit better, right? Like a little bit like looser. Everybody should be getting involved, right? Because the quarterback should be making decisions to get everybody involved. And I just don't see that right now. So earlier we were talking and you were saying, different players that you would like to see come alive. I really hope we do see that. I really hope some of these players do step up because right now with Kittle being out, CMC nursing his injury, we don't know where Jennings is correctly at right now because he's coming back from an injury. So players like Ricky Pearsall, who, sadly, he's coming back from an injury. It sounds like almost all the players we have on offense are coming back from some kind of, significant injury. So right now, I don't know who we really need to look towards and how we're going to convert on third down. But I think we need to dedicate ourselves and say, if we're going to be this team, we're going to be this team. I wanted somebody like King Henry last year and during the offseason. You see what the Ravens are doing with him. He's a power back. He gets the ball and he runs forward. I think if we have that kind of team, then we need to stick with it. I seen us having it similar with Jordan Mason. I kind of see it with Garendo. But when we get CMC, I don't see CMC being that power back. I don't see Debo being that power back. They are doing like the jet sweeps, the things around the outside of the corner. Sure, that works. But I think teams are keying off on that. And right now the 49ers are in a transition to try to find out what's working for them. Because I think a lot of the teams are running 49er offense. So for a long-winded answer, I think the way the 49ers need to convert, I think we need to dedicate ourselves to a type of offense and quit trying to be gimmicky. And that's my opinion.
And, gimmicky is it's kind of Kyle's thing. He likes to do a jet sweep. He'll throw occasionally something out there. It's not like we're constantly doing it, but he occasionally throws something in. And I don't have a problem with occasionally throwing something in. But when it comes down to it, with our personnel group this year versus past years is different. We have wide receivers that are a little bit quicker that could possibly take advantage of doing quick slants and, just getting the ball out of Purdy's hands in like a second and a half. We have these guys now. Debo and Ayuk aren't really known for doing that type of stuff. Ayuk is a good route runner, and he's a middle range type of guy. But we won't see him till at least midseason next year, if not 2026. We'll just have to see how that goes. So working with what we have, we have Jennings, who is a good route runner. He's reliable on third down, and then we have Debo, who in open space is good. He's just not good against man coverage, and then you have guys that are kind of unknown, like Ricky Purcell and, Jacob Cowing. You don't know what Cowing's going to do because he rarely sees the game. When he did see it, he had 2 catches for 54 yards with a long bomb. So that's proof that, you put a guy in there that has speed, he's going to open up he's going to open up things for the guys underneath a little bit because the defense is going to have to account for that. Right? This is another thing I've been wanting for years other than a nose tackle. I've been wanting that speedy wide receiver to open things up for the underneath for guys like Debo and Kittle and, Ayuk and Jennings and, like even CMC with the check down. CMC in space is dangerous, right? So, we have options, and it would be nice if Kyle didn't just get tunnel vision and think this is what we need to do and stick with it. Change things up a little bit, Kyle. Right. But we're at the point. Games are starting in 10 minutes, Brian. What else you got, buddy?
I'm looking forward to the Niners hopefully having Debo return some kicks in the backfield. I think that's really good energy for the Niners. I like seeing him return the kicks. You can't be afraid to put players out there because of injuries. They got to play the game, right? So Debo returning punts or kickoffs, I'm really excited about that. I think that's really cool to watch. I'm looking forward to seeing how the new punter, you're not always excited to oh, we're gonna punt, but maybe this guy's got a trick up his sleeve or something, and because he's not necessarily unknown, but because the Seahawks don't know what he's gonna do, maybe that'll keep them maybe a little bit more humble. I don't know. Looking forward to like we said, how the defense is gonna stack up against the wide receivers of the Seahawks, because I don't think we're gonna have to worry about the running game so much. And yeah, I'm just really who's their running back? Chardonnay or some kind of fancy wine or something? I'm not positive.
And they got Walker. It's like I don't know his first name. It's like Kinderol or something Walker, and then they have Charbonnet.
Charbonnet. Okay.
Running back.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm just excited. We're going to have a good game. They're coming to Levi's. I think the series is 30-23. So if we can win this one, then we're only 6 games behind in the series, where we can finally maybe start taking some ownership over this. We have won, I think, I want to say the last 6 matchups in a row now, if I'm correct.
I'm knocking on wood. Everybody who hears this, please knock on wood.
Yeah. I'm looking right now, again, the Niners are 5-4. The Seahawks are 4-5. So this is a good way to keep ahead of the race and maybe catch the Cardinals. So yeah, thank you, David, for having me, and yeah, go Niners.
Hey, folks, it's the Seahawks today at Levi's. Hopefully we're able to put the stamp on it and get the sweep on them, because we desperately need these divisional games, losing those first 2 divisional games. We need them. So, and everyone, I hope you have a great Sunday, and I hope the Niners make the Sunday even better by getting the W, of course. And yes, Crazy Juice, what's up, buddy? It's good to see you. Don't forget to hit the like button. And George Kittle is out for this game, so we're going to be things are going to get interesting on offense. But as it goes, it's always go 49ers. And Corey Davis, shout out to you, buddy. F all 31 other teams.